That's the perfect segue into our next topic, the America Party. Which is now, I guess, official. While we'll learn more about the specific filings in the days ahead, the conversation kicked off in earnest over the holiday. Let's look at the first element here. On the 4th of July, Elon Musk tweeted, "Independence Day is the perfect time to ask if you want independence from the two-party, some would say uni-party system. It's interesting. He's starting to tweet like Trump. And you know, just to pause on that for a second, it's one of my biggest pet peeves. On the left, you have these people who will try to talk like Obama forever: Pete Buttigieg, Cory Booker, Josh Shapiro, and the list goes on. On the right, the way everyone now posts and tries to talk like Trump is just so annoying and grating. Can people please have their own personality? It's not just annoying. Sometimes, as I see posts from people like Charlie Kirk, it feels almost sycophantic. His style changed so conspicuously once Trump's popularity exploded. Anyway, that's a digression. But it seems Elon is now playing that same game. So, he conducted a poll on X, which is another super Trumpian move. Remember during the 2015-16 debates when Trump would constantly cite Twitter polls as if they were scientific data? He was even citing that cat turd poll at one point. Well, here we go again. Elon declared, by a factor of 2 to 1. You want a new political party. And you shall have it. This was based on 1.2 million votes from people who follow him on X. Now, the poll just asked if people wanted independence from the two-party system. It didn't specifically say they wanted an America Party. But there's no point in parsing the seriousness of a social media poll. Trump, of course, responded with a very long post on Truth Social. He wrote, "I am saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck over the past 5 weeks. He even wants to start a third political party despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States. The system seems not designed for them. That seems is a nice touch. Coming from the man who essentially created a third party within the Republican Party and took it over." Trump's post went on for about 300 words. Attacking Musk over EV mandates and claiming his #1 charge is to protect the American public. This all happened, as promised, right after Donald Trump signed the One Big Beautiful Bill at the White House on the 4th of July, moment Elon had previously said would be the impetus for him to launch this party. Now, Elon is suggesting a strategy. He's interacting with posts that say he could target just 2 to 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts, hitting where the margins are razor thin. That is, admittedly, a very smart political strategy. If your goal is to hand Democrats those 2 to 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts. Because in all likelihood, that's exactly what would happen by splitting the vote. What's really interesting is Trump's reaction. Yes, it was long, but it felt so mild compared to his usual takedowns. Remember how he'd say Ron DeSantis came to me, tears in his eyes? Trump knows how to absolutely humiliate people. And he didn't do that to Elon. In fact, his points were pretty reasonable. He said Elon was mad about his EV subsidies being threatened and upset that he didn't get his hand-picked guy to run NASA to benefit SpaceX. Both of those points are likely true. It's all very interesting. Especially considering Elon had previously floated that Trump was on the Epstein client list before deleting those posts and saying he'd gone too far. But in terms of the America Party itself, do I think this will be a successful effort to supplant either of the two major parties? No. I don't. Especially because, what is the ideology here? He's talking about deficit reduction. Okay. But what other pieces go along with that? It's completely unclear because Elon's own ideology has been all over the map. To steelman the argument for this kind of neoliberal, austerity-focused third party, we can look at an analysis from Nate Cohn. He argued that if both major parties truly go in a more populist direction with tariffs, industrial policy, and big spending, then maybe a lane opens up for the neoliberal, pro-business, free market types who feel left behind. But that analysis falls apart for two reasons. First, I think neoliberals already have two parties that continue to serve them very well. The giant bill that just passed includes a big tax cut for the rich. Trump has already backed off his most maximalist tariff positions and has shown he is very responsive to the desires of billionaire oligarchs. Just look at the tariff deadline being pushed from July 9th to August 1st. With deals being cut for the UK, Vietnam, and China. Far from being politically homeless, the elites are doing just fine. Second, and more importantly, the public is done with this ideology. This has always been the problem with groups like Third Way and No Labels. It's easy to get a bunch of rich business people to agree on tax cuts and deregulation. The problem is getting any public support for it at a time when Reagan-Clinton-era neoliberalism has so clearly failed. People are desperately searching for something different. Something that actually works for them. The idea that there's a massive, untapped constituency clamoring for deficit reduction, deregulation, free trade, and high-skilled immigration is a fantasy that exists only on Wall Street and in Silicon Valley. That platform is the ghost of the pre-2016 Republican Party that one Donald Trump defeated and fundamentally changed. The idea that a few billionaires can astroturf that old agenda back into relevance is absurd. Yes. With enough money, you can cause some chaos and maybe flip a few seats. But you're not building a real, lasting movement. And, of course, other billionaires are lining up. Mark Cuban is out there saying, "Oh, I can help you get ballot access." Andrew Yang is interested as well. But this just proves the point. They all seem to think that because people are dissatisfied with the two parties, they must want a party whose main priority is the national debt. While most Americans would agree that debt is a problem, it is nobody's top voting priority. A billionaire, who can easily afford to feed his family, is asking working people to table their urgent kitchen table issues in favor of an abstract economic concept. The hypocrisy is stunning. Elon Musk is not genuine about this. He is a gigantic federal government contractor. Obama rescued both SpaceX and Tesla. He has no problem with government subsidies when they flow to him. These billionaires don't want small government. They want a government that serves them. And when their bets go wrong, like with Silicon Valley Bank, they get bailed out. They want the public to sacrifice. But they never will. Steve Bannon sees this clearly. He has a new nickname for Elon, Elmo the Moo. He's blasting him, saying, "A non-American starting an America party. No. Brother. You're not an American. You're a South African." Bannon, as a primary gatekeeper of the MAGA base, is signaling that this austerity-driven, elite-friendly project has nothing to do with their movement. In a rare moment of self-awareness, Musk himself noted that Trump was happy to have him around when his poll numbers were higher. But now that he's less popular, Trump is pushing him away. And he's right. His favorability has declined precipitously ever since he hitched his wagon to the Trump administration. He has no one to blame but himself. In the end, this America Party feels less like a genuine political movement and more like the pet project of a bored billionaire who fundamentally misunderstands the country he seeks to influence. Its likely failure, however, shouldn't be mistaken for a victory for the status quo. The widespread frustration that Elon's poll tapped into is real, deep, and justified. But real, transformative change will never come from the top down. Handed to us by the very elites who benefited most from the broken system. It has to be built from the ground up. By ordinary people organizing in their communities for a vision that prioritizes their families, their wages, and their dignity, not the abstract balance sheets of the powerful. The dream of a government that is truly of, by, and for the people remains the most powerful idea of all. And it's a dream worth fighting for, long after this particular spectacle has faded away. If this conversation resonated with you and you want to continue exploring the real forces shaping our world, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel. It's the best way to support our work and join a community that's committed to looking past the headlines. Thanks for watching.